What if I told you that a company's financial statements could tell a story? A really good one, full of ambition, efficiency, and of course, potential. Well, today we're going to read 5 of those stories, pulled straight from an investor's love list.
But before we get into it, just think for a second. What makes a company a favorite for you? Is it their cool products? Maybe a leader you really admire? Or is it something else? Something you just can't quite put your finger on? Well, we're about to see that the answer is often hiding in plain sight, right there in the numbers. So, we're going to unpack 5 companies that tell 5 completely different stories. You're going to see tales of just explosive growth, of quiet, brilliant efficiency, and that really tricky dance between ambition and discipline. All right, let's get into it. Okay, our first 2 stories are about companies that aren't just riding the tech wave, they're pretty much creating it. These are the innovators, the disruptors, the ones literally shaping the future right in front of us. And trust me, their growth is something else. First up, we've got Canary's Automations. I mean, the name alone sounds fast and precise, right? And as you're about to see, the numbers absolutely back that up. So what do they actually do? Well, to put it simply, Canary's helps other businesses get modern. They're all about digital transformation, providing the kind of software and automation tools that are in absolutely massive demand right now. And just look at these numbers. A 166% jump in sales in 1 year? Folks, that's not just growth, that is an explosion. And the profit is right there with it, up 125%. This is a company that's firing on all cylinders. So what's the story the numbers are telling us here? Well, on one side, you have a company in the perfect place at the perfect time. It's a high-margin business in a sector that's just booming. But here's the catch. Their greatest strength is also their biggest risk. In a business like this, your most valuable assets, they walk out the door every single evening. For Carias, the whole game is making sure that top talent wants to come back the next morning. Okay, moving from the factory floor to the farmer's field, our next innovator is using tech to shake up another huge traditional industry. Let's talk about Bharat Rohan Airborne Innovations. Now, Bharat Rohan is a really fascinating company. They use drones to fly over fields and collect data on crops, helping farmers get better yields and be way more efficient. It's pretty much the definition of a high-growth, high-tech niche. Okay, look closely at this chart. Sales growth is a massive 133%. But notice the profit growth. It's way lower, at 54%. And this tells a classic story. This is a company playing the long game. They are sacrificing profits today for growth tomorrow, pouring every single penny back into the business so they can dominate the market later. It's a bold strategy, for sure. High risk, high reward. And this slide really lays it all out. You've got these huge tailwinds, like the growing demand for precision farming and a lot of government support. But the risks are tied directly to their industry, right? They're at the mercy of things like weather patterns and, of course, shifting government policies. All right, shifting gears from the digital world to the physical one. Our next 2 companies are building the very foundation of modern life. These are the infrastructure titans, the companies literally powering our future. First up in this category is Oriana Power, and they are a huge player in the renewable energy space. Oriana basically handles the A to Z of setting up solar energy for businesses. I mean, with the whole world pushing for clean energy, you can imagine they are right in the sweet spot of a booming market. Now, you have got to see this. For the first time today, look, the profit bar is taller than the sales bar. Sales grew an amazing 117%. But get this, profits grew an even more incredible 149%. This is the sign of a company that isn't just growing, it's growing smarter. They're figuring out how to make more from every sale, and that is a beautiful thing. Our next company is another master of efficiency, but they're in a, let's say, less glamorous, but no less critical part of the power sector. Let's look at Velis Transcore. So Velis doesn't build the big solar farms, but they make the super critical components that go inside power transformers. They're a key piece of the puzzle that makes sure our electrical grid actually works. And this chart, this is a perfect illustration of a powerful idea called operating leverage. Let me break it down. Imagine you own a factory. You have fixed costs, right? Like rent and machinery that you have to pay no matter what. Well, as you start selling more and more stuff, those fixed costs get spread out over more units, so your profit on each unit goes way, way up.
That is operating leverage in action, and it's exactly what we're seeing here.
Okay, our final company, our final story, is about a business that kind of marches to the beat of its own drum. It's a company whose fortunes can rise and fall with the seasons. Let's take a look. And that company is Oswald Pumps. They make pumps for both agriculture and for industry.
Now, if you look at the annual numbers, everything looks pretty good. A 74% jump in sales is nothing to sneeze at. But the source material points out that its quarterly growth is starting to cool off, and that is the classic sign of a cyclical business, one where demand ebbs and flows. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. For a smart investor who understands that rhythm, cyclical businesses can actually be a fantastic opportunity.
So, there you have it. 5 companies, 5 different stories, 5 unique paths to success. Now, let's kind of zoom out and see what we can learn from putting them all together.
What we've really seen today are 2 very different but equally valid ways to build a great business. On one side, you have the sprinters, like Bharat Rohan. They're laser-focused on one thing, growth. They're totally willing to sacrifice profits today for market dominance tomorrow. But then you have the marathon runners, like Vilas and Oriana. They are all about efficiency and profitability. They're not just trying to grow, they're trying to grow smarter. When you see them all side by side like this, it's so clear. Each of these companies is a winner, but they are playing completely different games. And that's really the key takeaway, isn't it? There's no one-size-fits-all formula for success. The best companies know their own strengths, and they play to them. So what does this all mean for you? Well, first, don't just get dazzled by big sales numbers. Growth is great, but profitable growth is way better. Second, when you see a company whose profits are growing faster than its sales, you need to lean in and take a closer look. You might just be looking at a future superstar. And finally, always remember that the numbers are only part of the story. To really get it, you have to understand the business behind them. And there's no right answer here. Some people love the thrill of that explosive growth, while others prefer the steady returns of a really well-oiled machine. The most important thing is to know what kind of investor you are and to build a portfolio that really reflects your own goals. I hope this was helpful,